Greetings crafters, it's Julie Creek. I'm here to share with you today another die from the Skinny Dippin' mini album line. This particular die is called the Savannah Flap Pages. So we're going to go through this die and we're going to build some pages in the album with the Flap Pages die. When you turn it over, you are going to see this is what you have. There are a lot of dies on this set. I store this on our magnet and in the storage envelope. So I want to go over with you what you have in this package. This is a 25-piece die set. Now the first thing you'll see is you have some sentiments and expressions on this die set. And these are the sentiments. You can see you can die cut I love us, or I love my family, or you can take the words off and use them individually. And when we're die cutting those, we have the super tacky tape on the back. So those are included in the die set. Now we have just some accent pieces, little tab pieces. This is a banner piece that you can write a title in. Down here on the bottom section, you'll see there is a tag piece. And then there are mats for that tag. So this is just a little accent tag that you can die cut. This is your hole and your hole reinforcer for the tag. You have a rectangle piece that comes with your set, and that is just a simple rectangle die. And you'll notice that it fits the wave pocket. Now I'm going to pull off the 4 dies that are in the wave peak pocket. So as we look at the wave dies that are on this set, if you look closely, you'll notice that one of them has a cut line around the outside edge and a score line over here on the side. And that is made so that you can make a peak pocket. And we will get to that later in this video, how all this is used. And then you'll see there's another die that's the exact same size, but it has a cut line on the outer edge. Out here is a cut line. And then we have one that is a little bit smaller so that you can cut a mat, and then another one so it'll cut a little bit smaller. So these pieces are all in your set. They're all meant to go together. And the rectangle that we talked about earlier is meant so that you could actually cut 2 photos and set them up on that panel, and you would have 2 photos that fit in there. So that's the peak pocket. It is included in the Flap Pages dies. These are the Flap Pages die that come in your set. They are die cutting all along the outside edge, scoring here so you have a tab to adhere in your page. And there are 2 dies that come with this that accent this. And they are designed so that you could cut pattern paper or cardstock and then add a photo to the Flap Pages. So I have been working on the Summer Lovin' album. We're going to use them in the Summer Lovin' album. These dies are also included in your set. They are made to stack into each other. There's also this fun little rickrack piece that fits in there. And these are designed for you to cut the pattern paper that goes in between the pockets. And I'll show you that as we go into construction of this project. Now, I do have some sample albums that I want to share with you of different ways that this pocket has been used. This is the album that has been made for card storage, and I will be doing a drive-by on this album. And you can see here, here's the flap page, and it opens. And so there's a magnet on the base, and then that is made as a pocket. So I am going to stack these up today and use them as a stack, but I just wanted to show you there are many different ways. Here's that pocket again over here that opens and closes. I have another sample here to share with you. This is the Happy Fall Y'all album, and I've already posted a drive-through video on this album that goes through the whole thing. And you can see here that Diane used the flap pages here to make the flaps for this page. So the flaps are designed that you can get photos on the front and the back. and love the way Diane used the different colors here to get the color in, and then she closed it with the belly band. I have been working on the Summer Lovin' album and shooting video as I go along, so if you haven't seen the videos, you can go back and watch them as I've built the different components in this album. Today is May 31st, 2022. I do have a few collections, the paper collections and the chipboard elements and the ephemera that are still for sale. You can find those on our website or visit us at a show. I have this page of the fold-out album, and I am going to add the flat pages into this album. Now, I could also put them in the pocket page album, but this particular project I'm working on to finish up, I want to add my flat pages, so we're going to build it in the pocket page album. Now, if you aren't familiar with the difference between the flat page album and the pocket page album, you can go back and watch my previous videos, and I will drop a link in the comments section as to how you can find those videos. Now, for this particular page, I am going to put down a yellow cardstock base, and that's cut 5.5 by 8. And then I'm going to add pattern paper to the top, and that pattern paper is going to measure 5.25 by 7.75. When I build my pocket page, I am going to build this outside of the album, and then when we have everything the way we want it, we will pick it up and add it to our album. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my pattern paper on there. So I have my base page put together, and then I am going to locate the two dies that have the flat pages, and these dies have been designed so that when you die cut them, you have a tab running to the left and a tab running to the right, and then you can layer them to get different designs. So I have cut those on red cardstock, and then you'll see when you cut them, there is a score line, and then you can fold them. So you want to cut, depending on how you're doing it, in this case, I cut 4, and we are going to fold those on the fold line, and then make our waterfall. And you can see I have the tab, the swish piece running to the left, and then we're going to make the swish piece run to the right and work our way down this page. Now, before we do that, I am going to take my pattern paper, take the largest die that comes with the set, and we're going to cut our pattern paper and adhere it both to the front and to the inside. And if we want to add photos, we can use a die to cut the photo, or we can cut that with our paper trimmer. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere the white on these panels, and then up here at the top, I am going to adhere our 1/2" super tacky tape so that I can adhere them into the album. When I'm ready to adhere this, I'm going to fold this piece up, and you can see that my mat is the same size as my flap. I can line that up right there along that edge and push that down. Now we can take that die that has that rectangle and die cut that on our scrap paper, and I have already die cut this, and I have my super tacky tape on the back. So as we go down through the flaps here, I'm just going to add this to the middle in between the flaps just to give it a nice pop of color, because this album is full of color. Now we have our tab running to the left, and now we have our tab running to the right, so we are going to adhere that in. So I'm going to remove my tape, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to stack that right on top of that line, push my tape down, and I will have my line coming down exactly where I want with that nice colorful piece of paper in between. I have another one. I'm going to set that right on top of that red. Now, could you just leave that red in there and then you would have a red pattern or red cardstock between your pieces? Yes, I'm just showing you the dies are in there if you want to add them to that space. So I'm just going to continue to set these up and work my way down. and add my paper. And there I have all my flap pages for my page. And now I can accent and decorate any way I want to. I'm going to add a sentiment and some decor to the front page. You can see I've added my sentiment, I've accented this with some stickers, and I have a really nice place to hold all of my photos. And that is how easy it is to use the flap pages. Now we are going to look at adding the peak pocket to the bottom of this page. You may remember earlier in this video that we talked about these 4 dies. And to get started, we want to locate the largest die that's in the set. And you want to locate the die that has the cut mark all around the outside edge, but on this side there is a score line. It's not a cut. So we are going to create a window that we can open to sit on top of our project here. So I have gone through my pattern paper collection and I found a really cute 4x6 element that came in this collection, and I am going to place my die on top of it, and we're going to create a window that we can pull open. So in order for us to fit this properly, I'm going to cut this 4x6 card down to 5x4. So I know what I'm doing with the front of my peak window, and I have located a scrap piece of paper, and we're going to add a scrap piece of paper and the super tacky tape to the back of this to strengthen that where the fold is, and it'll give me an interesting look on the inside. So I am going to put my super tacky tape on the back of this paper. So I will unroll my paper, set my tape in there, and then we're going to trim that out. So I have my 2 pieces, and what I've done here is I've just made it smaller, a little bit smaller, an inch smaller all the way around, so that frames in that piece really well. So no matter what size you have, if you make your inside piece 1 inch smaller than your top piece, then you can adhere it with the super tacky tape. And you have that peak pocket that's secured and extra firm because of the tape and the paper. Now we're going to take that die that has the score on this side, and it's a die cut on the rest of the edges, and you want to double check because there are 2 dies in this set that are exactly the same size. One of them has a cut line over here, and one of them has a score. So make sure you have the right one. And then I am going to tape this in place with the Creek Bank Creations art stencil tape because I do not want it moving on me. And then we will run it through the die cut machine and die cut. When I remove it from the machine, I'm going to put some Undo on that tape, which Undo is a solvent. It'll help me remove that tape without tearing up the paper. And I can remove the die very easily from it and pull my tape off. I don't have to worry about the tape pulling off the front of my paper. And now we have our peak pocket. And when we fold that, we're going to train that fold. We have a really interesting element on the inside. Okay, now when we go to adhere this, we're going to adhere it, and that's going to make that really nice pocket for us. But we want to add a magnet to this pocket. So I am going to add a magnet to the top and to this inside piece right here. So I am going to set that where I think I'm going to adhere it. And I am going to add a piece of tape. I'm going to add tape where I want to put the magnet. So I'm going to put a piece of tape down, pull off the liner, and then I will add a magnet, and these are the small magnets, right on top of that tape. Now we are going to want to add a magnet to the other side. So we are going to take another magnet and place it on the top so it's facing the right direction, that the poles will pull to each other. And then we will take another piece of tape, set that right on top of that, and pull off the tape liner. And I'm going to fold that tape in just a little bit because we don't want everything sticking down, because what we're going to do is fold this shut and pick up that magnet so that it comes off on the other side. And sometimes you might want to stick your pick tool in there just to help that stick and pull off properly. And then we have our magnet on the correct side. So I have my magnet here stuck in the tape, and I pulled it off onto the other side. Now there are a series of dies in the package, and those dies are made so that you can cut the exact shape that you want, or you can cut a mat that's slightly smaller. So in this case, for the side over here, we're going to cut one that is just slightly smaller, and it'll make a mat for this piece. So I have located a scrap paper that we will die cut for that inside pocket so that we can cover up that mat. So that's why there are several dies in this series, and I've gone one step smaller. I have my paper, and I've added my super tacky tape to the back of it. And because of the way I want this to lay, I'm going to put my die down into the tape side of the paper and die cut. I have my peak window and I have my paper that I die cut with my super tacky tape, and I am going to be able to center that right on that window and adhere that. And you can see you could have done this with actually a photo. You could have put super tacky tape on the back of a photo and put a photo here, or any element that you had in the paper collection that you wanted to use. Now that covered up my magnet so that it's not showing, and I am ready to adhere this into the base of my page. So I am going to turn this over, and we are going to put tape between the cut line and the outer edge, and on this side between the fold and the outer edge. So I have adhered tape all the way around the edges. I'm going to remove the tape liner, and we will adhere that into the base page. When I am ready to adhere that in, I'm just going to hold that over, and you can feel that magnet pull you can feel the magnet pull, and then just get it where you want it and set it down. And now you have that really nice window that'll open, but we still have our magnet exposed. So that's where you go back and you find that die that fits that space exactly. And then we're going to locate, in this case, I'm going to locate another piece of pattern paper. But if you have a photo, you could easily put a photo in there. I'm going to put my super tacky tape on the back of the paper and die cut. I have my paper cut. I'm going to peel off the tape liner, and I am going to set that right down into my space, and that should be a perfect fit, and that will cover up that magnet and give me a very nice place to put my peak pocket. These peak pockets are actually designed to hold photos, so I have cut another one to represent a photo that we would put in there. I have my super tacky tape on the back, and I'm going to adhere that into the base. That gives us a really fun peak pocket to add to our page, and we have our flap pages on the top, and this is a really welcome addition to any mini album. Thank you for joining me on how to use the Savannah flap pages die. You can watch my other videos on the YouTube channel where I've gone through and built the rest of this album. And you can find these products on our website, www.creekbankcreations.com.